Hello guys and welcome for another video with Fen, and in today's video I'm going to talk about the new updates that just released a few days ago, and also want to wish you all Happy New Year 2025. I'll still be recording videos from time to time, I guess, and even though I don't have that much time anymore, but yeah, I'll do my best to release still regularly videos. And in today's video I wanted to talk about all the new things they released. So they got that thing, the beast space with the new beast system, and quite honestly it's just some sort of a second set of hero you can pair with the current heroes, and another pay to win thing in my opinion. And I'll cover this probably more in detail later on, but in today I'll probably just focus on the main two heroes they released. So they got new heroes Ethan and then Sophie. And if I want to quickly look at this one, so this one is All-Star Knight, so mostly top commander. And then this one is Roulette, so this one's gonna be quite tricky, I guess, to obtain. And you got also the system of super weapon. I actually haven't done any video about the super weapon, but it's just essentially an additional thing, pay to win again. And I would not take care of this too much if you're a free-to-play player, because it's very unlikely you're gonna be able to, unlock this super weapon fully and transcend this hero, for example, or any of these heroes as well. It will take an enormous amount of resources to to save and then do the on the All-Star Night. So you go in Splendid Steel, and then it will take you a lot of savings to get this thing and then rank on this event. For example, this one is 1600, and not to mention that you need to have at least, I think it was 500 or so, or at least 300 points. So in my opinion it's going to be very hard for any free-to-play player to unlock all these weapon fully and transcend the heroes fully as well. So just takes long time. So again, don't focus too much about this super weapon, I would say. And for this guy I'm going to talk briefly about him. And so this guy is a garrison hero, range hero as well, and then he's got pretty decent damage factor on fan shape area, 3 targets, and you got enemy reduction by 15% for the additional enemy targets. And then it gains also 1 stack on the field, gunfire stack on the field, and then if garrison, it's 2 stack of gunfires per target hit, and then for every 10 stacks of gunfire, then you will have an increased squad range squad attack by 10%. And it's not really well explained, but I would say if you check the awakening skills, you will see 30 stacks will be the maximum. So every 30 stacks it's reset. So maximum here you'll see a 30% additional squad attack. And then also the only difference I would say between the awakening is at the 30 stacks of gunfire, you have an additional, well, you got, first of all, you got a damage increase of AoE skills only. So if you have a hero with a single damage factor or a damage factor on a single target, this will not apply. It's only on AoE. And you get essentially, so that increase of damage of AoE, and then you have an additional damage factor on a circular area on up to 3 enemy. So that's the main difference between this and then the normal one with the gunfire stacks. This one, pretty basic, I say. Squad attack, 42%, and then counter attack have 20% chance to grant an additional stack of gunfire. 20% we said, so it will happen twice every 3 rounds. So nothing crazy, I would say, but it's a counter attack. So if you got multiple squads attacking your troop or your squad or your shelter or your garrison, then you will have more of these happening, obviously. So it's quite good in a situation where you actually swarm or you got multiple rallies in case of garrison. This one, You got to increase range squad HP by 36%, reduction in skill damage taken by 13% in garrison only. So this again is it's not really clear to me, but I would say the increase of range squad HP happen all the time, and the reduction of skill damage only happen in garrison. I don't think this is a garrison base skilled. It would not make sense to be honest. So I would say the squad HP is also applying on the field. And this one, increase range, squad defense by 38%, and garrison reduce all damage taken by 10% for 1 minute. So 1 minute is actually pretty long. 10% reduction is pretty good, I would say. And then here, as I mentioned already, when you reach the 30 stack, you've got an additional AoE damage, 13,500 damage factor up to 3 enemy squad. So this is really good, I'd say. Overall, I think it's a really good hero to have, especially if you're able to transcend these skills and get super weapon maxed out. So super weapon is not crazy, I would say. Basic attack have 20% chance to deal damage to the current target, so you got an extra damage factor, and you also gain an extra stack. In garrison, you got 2 stacks instead. On can only be triggered once in 4 seconds. So I don't think it's that crazy. However, if you go on the transcended skills, this getting like way crazy. Okay, so now you got the deals damage up to 3 enemies. Still, fan shape area in front, 14,750 instead of I think it was 13,750. Here again, same thing. You gain 1 stack or 2 stack, but then here you got an extra healing factor, and then per gunfire stack you got an additional 50. So let's say you got 2 gunfire, then you will have 2,100. So that's a nice bonus, but I don't think it's really that crazy. And here, so in garrison, you have, instead of 3 enemies, you got 4 enemies, and then instead of fan shape area, you got circular area. So this is really good, in my opinion, especially for garrison, and I think it's going to be one of the best garrison captain for tower defense during Archipelago Raid or Island Raid and all the main war event. I think it's going to be a really good hero for garrison, in my opinion. So if you're whale, I would say definitely good to invest in this hero. But for any regular player, I would say don't waste your time. I don't think you will ever achieve the unlocking this hero completely, and then most likely by the time you unlock it, you'll have a much better hero, because you probably spend at least a year to unlock the transcendent skills. So this one, you got a really nice increase on the squad attack, then you got extra, so the counter attack moved from 20% to 30%. This one, you got also an extra a few percent on HP, and then it moved from 13%, I believe, to 17%. So here, so it was 7% extra, and here was actually pretty nice. I think it's 7% extra too, and then on the HP, and then 13 and 4% extra on the skill damage taken. This one is actually quite interesting because it's from range squad defense to squad defense, so it will apply to all your troops. So if you use this one on your shelter, that's actually really good. I don't think it's a good idea to have multiple troop type in your towers, so I don't think it's a really good idea to have, well, it doesn't matter really much, but it's better to have only range, in my opinion. And then here it moved from 10% to 15%, and then for 1 minute to 2 minutes, and 2 minutes is actually pretty long. And this one is actually the craziest, I think. So increase from 18% to 27%, and then 30 stacks of gunfire. You have an extra damage factor of 14,750 up to 3 enemy squad in circular area again, and then you recover as well 4,000 of healing factor, and the stack maxed is actually reduced to 25. So you lose the 5%, 10%, sorry. So it can only go to 20% instead of 30%, but you gain way better. So you have 4,000 healing factor here. You got 2,000 healing factor there. You got an extra damage factor on circular area. I mean, this is pretty crazy, I would say. And there's this new hero as well, and they recommend. So if I go on strategy here, they will recommend to pair with this hero. I'm not so sure yet, to be honest. I would probably go best with either Jacob or so Jacob here and Lewis, especially if you got the skin of Lewis. So if you got Midnight Baron skill, you've got you got an extra healing factor. Where's the healing factor? So here you got an extra healing factor, and then what I think is the best is because this is only damage AoE damage skills. So you'll have an extra 27% on all the AoE of Lewis or Jacob. So that's the main reason why I would go better for him than probably the new hero, I would say. But better to test it out, to be honest, because these heroes, nobody used it before, so very hard to tell. And so the next hero is Sophie, and Sophie, as I said, lucky roulette hero. And I don't think she's that crazy. So single target, and then increase the skill damage received up to 3 enemies by 20% for 3 seconds. I think she's better for the field, to be honest. Could be really good as well with Ethan. We need to test this out, I would say, because this guy is dealing a lot of skill damage on AoE zone. So the 20% on 3 enemy squad could be actually quite nice. So yeah, we need to try that out. And then increase range squad traveling speed by 20% and attack by 32%. So this is the first one is useless if you want to use her with 18 on garrison. So I think it's okay. It's not crazy, pretty average, I'd say, compared to the other heroes. When using rage skill without charge, gains charge, and when using rage skills with charge, consume charge to deal damage to up to 3 squads in circular area, damage factor up to 7,850. And then you have the charge increase range squad damage by up to 10%. So this is, again, I think the description is actually pretty bad, and they make things way more complicated than it should be. So essentially what it says, like every round, let's say for one round, you've got an increased damage of 10%, and then the next round, instead of the increased damage of 10%, you've got that extra damage to 3 squad in circular area with the damage factor. So I would say it's just very confusing. And this one, just increase HP 32% and squad damage reduction by 5.5%. So again, I would say it's pretty decent as well. I think the HP is pretty nice, especially for range. But we've got similar, buff like this. Like if you go, Julia has 44% from the top of my head. So again, nothing crazy, I would say. Immediately gain charge for 15 seconds when entering battle. Every time time is consumed, there's a 30% chance to deal damage again. So this is, again, very confusing, I would say. Immediately gain charge, that's alright. But for 15 seconds, I don't know. 15 seconds, you get the extra damage of 10%, okay. But then once you do the skill damage, so what's happening? So it's not very clear. Here, although that's much better. So every time you deal that damage factor of 7,850, you got a 30% chance to deal it again. Now, I would say it's probably straight after. Pretty nice, but then I think they just make things way more complicated than it should be on the description, and they should probably, makes a little bit more easy to understand for everyone. So that's my opinion about the new heroes. So what do you think about these new heroes? For me, it's mainly, pay to win thing and try to get more money from the whales, especially for the garrison hero Ethan. Otherwise, I don't think they're really worth your fragment if you're a free-to-play player. But yeah, just let me know in the comment if you're planning on unlocking any of these two heroes. That would be good for me. and I'll wish you a really nice day. And again, Happy New Year, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye.